Hello. Today we are going to walk through an art therapy exercise that I do often with clients to help us process how to get from where we're at to where we want to be. Sometimes we feel stuck or we have a habit we don't like and we don't know how to change. And we know what we'd like to be, but we don't know how to get there. There's a variety of ways that we can process through that to figure it out. This is just one example that uses art, very simple art, to just walk us through that and help our minds think through how to make changes in various areas of our life. You do not have to be an artist to do this. I'm a terrible drawer, as you'll see in my examples. It's more just helping our brains maybe use a different way besides journaling or other methods that we might go to make changes, to look at how to grow in areas that we're struggling in. And so this could be a story strip or a comic strip. I don't have a fancy word for it, but it's basically kind of drawing out steps of here's where I'm at, here's where I want to be, how do I get there? So this is a super simple example that I drew. I think you can see it. So you can take your paper and you're going to divide it up into boxes like this one is. You can do, this one has 8, you can do 6, 4, you'll see that in other examples. And so in the first box, you're just kind of drawing, this is where I'm at. So must have coffee. I think this person is drinking 10 cups of coffee a day. The goal is to get down to only choosing when they want. And so super simple, just thinking through, okay, going from 10 to 9, I don't remember what I said, 7, etc. So you just kind of draw it out, looking at, I want to get to here, but if I try to jump from this one to this one, often we're going to fail. If we just try to stop, we're not going to make it. So what's a process that will help me realistically get from here to here? So super simple, just cutting down our coffee. Another example that I did is starting with this one. Maybe our morning routines are awful. This one, I don't know if you can see it, but 8 a.m., I'm drinking my coffee, staring at my phone, and rushing out the door. What I would like is to have a more structured morning where 6:30 a.m., I'm in the Word, reading a devotional, etc., doing some yoga, some exercise, and then I'm calmly walking out the door at 8:30. Again, going from this to this, if I try to set my alarm an hour and a half ahead, I'm not going to make it. So thinking through, how do I walk towards that? What are small changes I can make? So maybe I get up at 7:30. And then I'm out the door. And then maybe I start getting up at 7 and I add in a little bit of stretching. Again, not overdoing it because maybe that's overwhelming. So I'm just going to add in a few simple stretches and then eventually I'll get to here where I'm up at 6:30 and I'm doing the routine I want. But it's small, realistic steps that help me get there, so that I'm not this sad, stressed out, hair flapping in the wind person, but I'm smiling and happy on my way to work. So this is just another example. Another way you could do this is something a little more like this, because you can use it, maybe it's not habits, maybe it's feelings or just how we're doing inside. So this one is looking at, I've got a lot of anger and frustration just built up and I want to be grace-filled in my life. And maybe let's look at, how do I do that in various parts of my life, right? Maybe my anger comes out in all sorts of areas in unhealthy ways. And so I'm looking at, with my family, what can I do? Let's do some deep breathing before I respond to my kids or my husband in frustration. Or with the culture around us, let me think through, what can I do to not lash out in anger when I'm at a government office and I'm frustrated, and all of those different areas. So maybe it's not a step by step, but it's topic by topic, but looking at, how do I go from being filled with anger and frustration to having grace? So these are some examples. And as you can see, all of these are fairly simple. Stick figures, just kind of, traipsing across the page. If you are slightly more artistically inclined or just really picture oriented, I've started another example here. And this is maybe looking at something a little deeper. This picture, when I started it, I said kind of drowning in sadness. Maybe we feel like this could be any emotion. I chose sadness, but I'm just drowning and I can't get out and I don't know what to do. And I want to be over here. I want to be by a stream, and maybe the sadness is still there and I'm watching it go by, but I'm sitting there on the shore, grounded, and maybe I'm seeing something good grow out of it. And then I have this was actually a mistake. I don't know if you can see this person here, but it was a mistake. But then I just left it because it's not about perfection. But in the end, I decided that I think that's God or someone there with me saying, I am with you and you're not alone. And so looking at, this is where I want to be, recognizing the sadness is still there. The whatever this is in my life might not go away, but I'm not drowning in it. But how do I get from this to this? So this one I'm gonna do right here with you to kind of walk you through some of the thinking process of what it is. Okay, so as you can see here again, I have the first one and the last one done, and then I just picked a random amount of squares in between. So when I look at this picture and I see her drowning, she doesn't have anything to stand on. She's very alone. And so the first thing that I think of is a small step is kind of screaming for help. So I'm just gonna draw her yelling help. Because sometimes when this is what's going on, maybe people don't know, don't see, don't know how to help. And maybe it does need to start with, I ask, I reach out and I say, I'm drowning. Can someone come help me? I guess I'll give myself some hair. Yeah. And then maybe as I scream for help, somebody reaches out to give me a hand. So maybe I'm here and someone, this could be, maybe it's God, but maybe it's not. Maybe right now I need just a human. This is gonna be my really ugly hand with 6 fingers apparently. And I'm gonna reach out and take their hand and maybe say thank you. And then maybe I'm not quite as sad because somebody's got me. This could be a verse. This could be in my prayer time. This could be a friend. But I have asked for help and someone has tossed out their hand. And I've taken it. I do have to take a step in that. And then maybe as I have reached their hand, then they're gonna pull me up. And if my goal is to get here, maybe that's this first step, is that they help me find some solid ground and they're there with me. Maybe the water is still there, rushing by, but they've helped me find some solid ground. Maybe this person's got some nice black hair. Maybe I'm still crying because this is life. Sometimes it doesn't just go away, but I've got some footing and I'm not alone. And then the next thing that I think of is we've still got our solid ground. Maybe the river's dying a little bit as I'm finding out how to navigate next to it instead of being swallowed up by it. I'm still here. Someone's still here with me. And maybe there's a tiny little piece of grass that's growing out of it, just a little bit that I can see. My tears might be less, but they're still there. And then maybe eventually this person, whether it's a friend or God, maybe they're not quite as physically there, but I know they're still there. And maybe this tiny little ray of hope is able to grow into something, and I can find myself here. So again, this is just another way that you can help yourself process through, how do I get from feeling stuck in whatever to somewhere that's maybe calmer or more grounded or more free.